Hello, Oklahoma DECA advisors. This is Paxton, and I wanted to walk you all through some CDC content. So most of your CDC content will be found in two places. The first one would be emails from me, and the second one would be on our website, decaok.org, under the CDC tab. So to get there, you'll be decaok.org, go to the conferences tab, hover over that, and then select CDC Career Development Conference. Okay, once you're there, you will see that this page is updated and ready to go for this year's state conference. As you scroll down, you will have our theme, Search for Success, this year that our state officers worked hard to choose and have great plans to roll out for all of our students and to incorporate that into this year's CDC. A few things, a little blurb there about the theme. Okay, so as you're scrolling down, you're going to see this blue bar that says Register for Career Development Conference. More info here. Okay, so when you click on that More Info Here button, you're going to find some registration information. So the first things, important dates and deadlines. As you all know, registration opens on January 5th. It will close on January 16th. And then our state online testing window opens. So January 17th through 31st. If you have not registered your testing liaison, I will show you where to do that. But make a note now that you do need to register your testing liaison at your school prior to CDC online testing. Okay, the next deadline would be when all of the written events are due. So if your students are competing in those written events, those are going to be due on January 31st, no later than 5 p.m. All of these dates are also on those Be My Important Dates calendars that you received at summer conference. None of those have changed since this August. We will see you all at CDC February 15th and 16th in Midwest City. We're looking forward to it this year, and it is definitely coming up quickly. Okay, a little bit more registration information. We have the links here. If you are registering high school students, you want to pay attention and grab that link. If you are registering collegiate students, then you'll want to grab that link. Okay, the cost for CDC this year is $70 per member. We have not raised that in the last few years. So $70 per member and advisor. That does apply to both high school and collegiate students. The deadline for registration refunds is January 20th, 2023. Now, keep in mind that if your student has started testing online or has submitted a written event and they have participated in the conference in some way, that we cannot issue a refund simply because they have used resources and we will be paying for their access to those sites and things like that. So after January 20th, we cannot issue any refunds unless it is just an emergency circumstance, and we'll handle those on a case-by-case basis. Okay, 2023 CDC, students can compete in 2 events, and we've made a few changes this year, and I'm going to try to explain what that change is. So students can compete in up to 2 events, with one of those being a team. Take away the idea that there are individual and team events. If your student is participating in a team role play, say that's 2 people, it has to be 2 people, but they also want to compete in one of those events that allows like 1 to 3 people. If they're competing in that as an individual, then that can count as an individual event for them. So we're hoping that this will open some more doors for our students and things like that. So students can still compete in 2 individual events, or 1 event as an individual, or one event as a team. The only thing that they cannot do is be on 2 different teams when they're competing. And that is simply just because of scheduling purposes. Now, keep in mind that if they do place in both of their events, that they do have to choose one event to take to ICDC. Okay, Courtesy Core and the DECA Statesman test do not count towards the total. And this isn't listed here, but I think it's listed somewhere else. If your students are competing in those principals events, your first year DECA members, those will not count towards their 2 as well. So if you have a first year DECA member that wants to add principals to their other 2 events and compete in 3 events total, then that will be allowed only for those principals events. Okay, invoicing and POs. Please note that say it's the day before registration is due and you don't have your PO yet, that's okay. Don't worry, don't panic. You do not have to have a PO number to check out for registration. What I need is the names of your students and what they're competing, and that's going to help me finish out conference planning. So don't stress about your POs. What we can do later is go back into those registration systems and change your invoices. We can change the date for you. We can change your PO number. We can add your PO number. Whatever you need changed for your finance office, we are able to do that after the fact if we need to. But it is so, so, so important that you get these students registered prior to that deadline date so that all of the other deadlines can fall into place. Online testing, written events, scheduling for CDC, everything is planned with a lot of care and it all follows one another. So if you have questions about invoicing, please do not hesitate to contact myself, or you can contact our bookkeeper, Rose Devers. Her information is right here. So here's her phone number. Okay. Oh, one note that is a little bit different if you've only registered for fall conference is that registration for CDC is tied to paid membership for members through DECA. So your students have to be members in order to register for career development conference. So if you have a student who maybe didn't get registered this last semester, they're new, something like that, but they want to compete, be sure to get them in prior to the last day of CDC registration, because they do have to be a paid member through DECA. Now we can pull some strings and things like that. If we're cutting it close, communicate with me and, I'll contact the DECA Inc. office and see what we can do. So communicate with me, try to hit those deadlines as much as you can. If there is going to be an issue, let me know. And I promise you that we can probably work it out. Okay, what's included in this registration fee? So you're going to get a registration packet, just like you do for all of our conferences, name badges, lanyards, things like that, schedules, access to programs. We no longer put the programs in all of the packets just because we found a lot of them in the trash. So you'll have access to programs and our website and things like that as well. You will have access to all of the engagement activities, officer panels, workshops, things like that. Your online testing is covered in your registration fee. You won't pay anything extra for your online testing, your competitions, anything like that. So $70, and other than meals and hotel stays, it pretty much covers everything for your conference stay for all of your students. You're gonna get access to all of our conference exhibitors, all of our sessions, opening business award sessions. Each student who registers in advisor will get the DECA 2023 trading pin. So they'll get one of those included. We will have extras for sale for those who want to take them to ICDC. And then we'll also have our store there. Students who are at CDC will have access to purchase Oklahoma DECA merchandise. And then all of your awards and certificates are included. So you're not paying anything extra if your students win or if you want awards and certificates. Okay. And as a note, that little blurb there at the bottom, there are no substitutions allowed. So if you have a student who becomes ineligible or something like that, I'm sorry, we cannot allow substitutions. So, okay. So moving back to that CDC registration page, this is where we were. So that registration info is right here, more info. Registration sites, they open on January 5th. Okay, so when they do, you're going to click on whichever one you are, high school here, collegiate here. If you have both, you will need to go to both. Just simply because the collegiate competitions will be here, the high school competitions will be here. It's a little bit different than fall. We have to have them separated out. Okay, right here under event details, we have this little toggle. So when is CDC? February 15th and 16th. 15th will be competition, 16th will be awards. Where are we? This year CDC is going to be in Midwest City at the Sheraton Reed Conference Center. It's been there for a few years now. The address is there. who can attend? Any active DECA member who has registered and paid membership dues to DECA. Okay, registration cost, we just went over that, $70. Okay, registration information, opens on the 5th, closes on the 16th. Another link, so you can find it. I think that's the third one so far that we've seen. Okay, lunch. Lunch is provided to all of our registered members on the 15th, so they will have a boxed lunch that is given to them. So everyone will get a ticket in their registration packet. With that, they'll be able to pick up their boxed lunch at the Reed Conference Center and go from there. Okay, opening session will be on the 15th. After that, we will be holding our business session. So make sure you're 2 voting delegates per chapter. Stay for that. The award session will be at 9 a.m. on the 16th. And we have added this at the bottom. I know I get some questions. We greatly encourage your school administration. And if you have parents who would like to attend, they are more than welcome to. At this time, we do not charge a fee for them to attend and things like that. So if you have questions about that, please let me know. As far as procedures and things like that, please make sure that you follow your school policies on guests who are around your chapters and things like that. So we're going to default to your school policies there on, if parents are sitting with your students or if you bring a guest in or something like that, just make sure you're following your own guidelines within your school district. Okay. The hotel this year. So as you all know, we chose to stay at the Sheraton because it was undergoing a renovation last year, and we got to tour it and it looked beautiful during the tour. So we have renewed our block there. We're going to be at the Sheraton Reed Conference Center. Now, if this block does fill up, we do have a second hotel ready to serve as an overflow. So once the Sheraton fills up, then we will let you all know, and we will post the link and information for that overflow hotel. So there's a booking link here. You can grab that. The last day to book the hotel at the Sheraton is February 1st, and it is $112 per night plus any fees and taxes and things like that. You can book through the link or you can contact Juliana. I will say that we do have a changeover in staff from who we've worked with before. The staff is completely new to us, at least. So if you do have any issues, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm not sure how many school groups they will have worked with prior to us coming in. So please be courteous. But if you do have issues or questions, please let me know. Okay, conference agenda. We have our promo video here. It's also on the OKB My YouTube channel. If you are interested in showing that to your students, we've posted it on January 1st on our social media pages as well. Okay, so on Tuesday, the 14th, our staff and the state officers will be there setting up. But that gives you time from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. for early pickup registration. We do ask that you don't arrive prior to 6. We could be ready, but we're not guaranteeing that we'll be ready prior to 6, just because we are getting set up and things like that. And there's a lot of setup that day. So, but from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., you can come and get your registration packets if you want to avoid the hassle of doing that on Wednesday morning. Okay, on Wednesday, this is our busiest day. Registration opened bright and early at 7:15, and this says 8:30. It will be open until the last packet is picked up, and then we'll have information there. But if you can, try to get there early so that you can get to your work assignment as an advisor and things like that. So we would appreciate everyone being prompt there. Okay, so we'll have a judge's orientation. If you know of any judges, I'll show you later where you can sign them up. We always welcome volunteers. Okay, at 9 a.m. we hope to promptly start events right at 9 a.m. so that we can keep things flowing. As you know, we keep a very tight schedule. Advisors will have their work assignments prior to CDC, and you'll know if you're working in the morning, afternoon, all day, whatever you have signed up for. From 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., students will be able to visit the campaign booths And from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., students and advisors will be able to pick up their box lunches. You will get a lunch ticket in your registration pack for each person who you've registered. Now, if you bring guests that are not registered and things like that, which I do strongly discourage just for security reasons, on the 15th, we will not have lunches for them. So they will not get tickets. We order the box lunches once I know how many we need and things like that. So just keep that in mind. If your people are not registered, they will not have a lunch. Okay. At 7 p.m. we'll have our opening session. And then after that, this says 9:30, but immediately following the opening session, we'll hold our business meeting and voting session. So during the opening session, students will be able to hear the campaign speeches, the keynote, and that information, so that we can go in right into voting right after. Okay. And then the big fun day on Thursday, February 16th at 9 a.m., we will have our grand awards session. We'll have our officer farewells, election results, and then of course, the competition award celebration where all of our students can earn that DECA glass. This will be over no later than 12:30, 1 o'clock, usually a little bit earlier. Last year we did end quite a bit earlier, so it kind of just depends on the flow, but we do keep it moving that day. So something special to remember is that if your chapter is participating in the Diamond Chapter program, that at both the opening session and the grand award session, your chapters can receive reserve seating so that you are not fighting crowds. Okay, so over here on this sidebar, we already talked about the promo video. We also will be announcing our keynote speaker. We're thrilled about our keynote speaker and beyond excited. So we'll be strategically rolling that out. We have our CDC dates here. And then right here, you're going to see all these important links. These you're going to find throughout this page, just because I do try to put them in multiple places so that you can find them. The first one is CDC registration. We have our online testing website for your testing liaisons or things like that. Now it's not open yet, so it's not going to work. Where you submit your written events is right here. Again, not open yet. And then we have our Chapter Diamond application. Okay, as you're planning for conference, we have a few bits of information here. So we'll hop into each of those pages. Courtesy Core is a place where students can assist with the behind the scenes working of the conference. They may be taking photos, they may be helping judges, they may be runners. I've had one who has helped me all day long. It just kind of depends on what the needs of the conference are. So kind of like an internship, but it doesn't have to be all day, and we will work around their competition schedules and things like that. Each chapter is allowed a maximum of 3 Courtesy Core members. That is unless we have a low turnout. If that is the case, then I will send out an email and asking if you have other students who would like to serve as a Courtesy Core member. If they would, then you can exceed that 3 member maximum. But for now, in the registration system, just go ahead and assign 3 at max. But like I said, we will work around their competition schedules and things like that. And then, we'll try to figure out what their skills are and what they'd be able to help with. And it's just a good day for them to be able to see how the conference runs behind the scenes, help us out a little bit, and, and network a little bit because they're getting that hands-on experience. Okay. So let's talk about how you can sign up. It's in the registration system. It is not going to count towards your 2 events. So it's extra, it doesn't count. And then after registration closes, then you will get your assignment from me through email. Okay, and then of course, if your student can't fulfill their assignment, let us know as soon as possible because we do kind of count on them to help, run lunches and drinks to judges, give directions. We count on them as part of our volunteer base. So if they can't be here, it's important that you let us know. Okay, hopping back over, let's go to dress code. Our dress code hasn't changed in a while, so just professional dress. And scroll through this. I do encourage you to read it. We will be monitoring dress code in events. We will be monitoring dress code on stage. Now, what I will say is it would take someone extremely out of dress code for us to not let them compete. But they may see a point deduction if that is the case. Now, on stage, if they are not in appropriate attire, or if they are in any of these things that are deemed inappropriate, they will not be allowed on stage. They can come back and get their award later, but they're not going to be allowed on stage simply because we are a professional organization. That is the image and the brand that we want to uphold, and we want to represent DECA to the best of our ability. We'll have partners there, school administrators, teachers. So it's important that everyone follows the dress code and things like that. So just make sure that you are following that. We get the question, can students share their DECA blazers? Yes, of course. We know that DECA blazers can be expensive. If you don't have enough for every student who is attending CDC, that is okay. They can share and things like that. We have seen it before, as one student's checking in and other students handing off their DECA blazer so they can go in and compete. If you have questions about the dress code or things like that, let me know. I'm happy to help. Okay. We are always looking for a national anthem singer for our conferences. So if your students would like to register for this, the deadline is January 18th by 11:59 p.m. They just fill out this form, upload their file, or they can add a link and then submit it. Our state officers then will review those and choose who sings our national anthem. We recognize them with a plaque and things like that. So they're also recognized in the program. If you do this, it does count towards a non-competitive event on the Chapter Diamond program. So if you're looking for something that fits that bill, applying for the national anthem singer would do that. Okay, hotels, we've kind of already been through this, but I'll show you where you can find this information here. Again, the link, this is just copied right from where you saw it on the toggle. Deadline to register at the Sheraton is February 1st, and those rooms are $112 per night, plus fees and taxes. Okay, voting delegates. Each chapter in Oklahoma gets 2 voting delegates per chapter. Your voting delegates must be present at the business meeting, which is after opening session, to cast their vote. So if you have voting delegates, I would encourage you to have them read the information on this page, voting delegate information found on the CDC page, so that they kind of know what their responsibilities are. It is your responsibility as a chapter to caucus on your own. We will not be organizing time for you to caucus and telling you directly to caucus. That is up to you. Okay, our candidates will be previewed here. We will get that probably in the next week or so. They've all completed screening, and we will be putting up their videos, their statements, things like that, so that you can review them prior to campaign booths opening. Okay, so that's all in the plan for conference section. Scrolling down to the compete and events area, we're going to have our deadlines here, just another link. This is sprinkled throughout as well. And there are those links again that you've already seen. So we have the online testing window, written event testing, submission, or written event submission window. And then we do have our statement of assurances and academic integrity linked here. So if you need that, you can pull that. It's the most current version, 2223 from DECA. Okay. Below those 3 blue buttons, you're going to have your advisor guide. So let's go into that. And this is just a little more information. that is directly towards advisors. That isn't necessarily just registration information. So this talks about the number of events that they can be in. Keep in mind that you can have a maximum of 3 entries per event in your chapter. Registration deadlines, testing window, okay, things like that. And since it's here, we can go ahead and walk through this. Register your testing liaison. There is a link here. You can also find it under resources, and it's the very last one here. Okay, so when you go here, you're going to have our page. You must do this each year, so please keep that in mind, simply because we don't know who has left each school and things like that, or maybe who's moved positions, and we do not want to be sending out passwords assuming that you have the same testing liaison that you did in years past. So please remember to fill this out each year. So you'll fill out this quick form, hit submit, and then I will email your testing liaisons prior to our testing window on January 17th. All of the information they need to log in students. Now, you are responsible as the advisor to schedule the test for your students. You are responsible for providing your students with their usernames or providing the testing liaison with your students' usernames. The testing liaison is not going to be scheduling your students unless they want to be proactive about that. They are merely there to proctor that test. So I will give them the login information. I will give them tips for troubleshooting tests and things like that. They'll have my information if they need it. But as far as knowing what your students are supposed to test in and things like that, that's going to be up to you to communicate with your testing liaisons. Who can serve as a testing liaison? Anyone but a DECA advisor. So it could be if you have another CTSO advisor at your school, maybe an FFA or BPA advisor, they can do it. Media specialists can do it. School counselors, if you do have a testing liaison at your school, that's their dedicated job, I would encourage you to use them if you can. You know, it's really anybody but DECA advisors, because you are not permitted to see those tests and to be in the room with your students. Okay. Advisor FAQ. This has one question on it right now, but as I get more questions from you all, we will add to it. So just keep in mind that this page does change and gets added to quite frequently. So this one's about students shaking hands. You know, I don't know that we'll ever get back to a place where we're enforcing and taking off points if a student doesn't shake a hand. So what we'll instruct our judges to do is if they are comfortable with it, to shake hands, but if not, then that's fine too. If a student is comfortable with it, great, they can initiate it. You know, I do really find it professional when a student asks. If the student is comfortable to shake hands, I think that it is professional for the student to ask, do you mind if I shake your hand? And then whatever the interviewer's comfort level is can be followed through there. But I think what we don't want the students to miss is that opportunity to introduce themselves and to make a lasting impression. Just walking into the booth and starting their, you know, their spiel is not going to leave a lasting impression with the judge necessarily. So they still need to go in, prep, have them practice how they're going to introduce, given their comfort level of a handshake and things like that. But again, on the FAQ page, we'll add to this as I get questions emailed to me and things like that. That way, you know, if one person has a question, usually more than one person does as well. Okay, online testing. This is not a link to the site, but this is some information about online testing. So it does have the testing window, some technology tips and things like that. If you've been taking the practice test, then you're gonna be good to go with the software, because we use the same website for our practice test that we will be using for the state test. Passwords and usernames will be different, but the website is completely the same. So if it's unblocked for practice testing, you'll have no problem getting into it for online testing. Testing will be open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekdays. And that's just simply because I am the tech support for testing. So it does need to have a little bit of a window there, just so we don't have students, testing at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. Okay. Prepared events. So this is prepared events, written events. You're going to hear them talked about in a variety of ways, but they're the same thing. The submission window is January 31st by 5 p.m. A 70% rule. This is not going to be found in your DECA guide. So make sure that you are looking for this. And this is something that Oklahoma DECA advisors have requested that we do. And we usually talk about it at summer conference. So for Oklahoma Summit. So if you have a preference to change it, we can talk about it then. But this year we will be implementing it. And that is that students must have a minimum of 70% of the maximum allowable pages. So if their event requires a 10-page paper, they have to submit at least 7 pages. If it's 20, then 14. And I think the debate has been increasing the font and adding a bunch of pictures to get to that minimum is not the way to go. Make sure that it's quality content and things like that. And do make sure that you are following those penalty point guidelines that you can find in the DECA guide. Okay, so this has some information on how to submit your written events. If you have questions, let me know. That portal will open up on the 17th, same day that testing opens. Okay, so that's all for compete and events. This should be your one-stop shop for competition. Okay, so for awards, recognition awards, we have 3 different recognition awards plus our Chapter Diamond Award. The recognition awards are due on January 20th. And then the deadline for the Chapter Diamond program is February 1st. Again, chapters who earn gold and diamond level for the Chapter Diamond program will receive reserve seating for opening and grand award session. Okay, so the Chapter Diamond program, the application is up and ready. So you've seen this before. These are different levels. When you scroll past that, you'll find the form. So you'll just fill this out. It is lengthy. You can upload your stuff, consent, submit. And then from there, we will take it. So just make sure you do that by February 1st. Okay, so then moving on, the Impact Award. This award could be also titled Advisor of the Year. This goes into the eligibility, what is required, things like that. The form is right here. You fill that out and submit. For most of these, you do have to have letters of recommendation. So they do take a little bit of planning ahead. The Service Award. It's for a chapter. So if your chapter has been doing, or you know of a chapter that's been doing some community service, then you can submit it here. And this is a chapter award. Same thing, fill it out, hit submit. The Vision Award. This is for a DECA member. And if we did happen to get both high school and collegiate applicants, and we deemed that there was a recipient in each division, then we could do 2 of this one. So 1 for high school and 1 for collegiate DECA. Really, with any of them, we could if we had multiple applications. Okay, so same thing, eligibility, form, submit. Okay, and the Impact Award, Service Award, and the Vision Award all due on January 20th. Okay, scholarships. We do have a couple of DECA scholarships that are through Oklahoma DECA. We've linked the national ones as well. But if you are interested in that MJ DeBenning scholarship, the information is here. Okay, so that's all. Recognize, success, the awards, recognition awards, Chapter Diamond program awards, things like that, scholarships. Okay, so getting the results. this is empty because we don't have results for CDC yet. But when we do, they will be posted here. So we just keep this here so that you know where to go. If we have any events that require finalists, I do try my hardest not to schedule events so that we have to have a finalist round. But if we do have to have a finals round for any of our events, we will post finalist lists in the same area as well. Okay, so down here we have two black buttons. The first one is vendors and sponsors. So if you know of an organization, a school, a industry partner, anyone, a fundraising partner even, I mean, anyone who you think that might benefit the rest of Oklahoma DECA or who might benefit from, meeting our 700 attendees, then they can click on this link and we have a survey that they can fill out. Once they fill out that survey, I will send them information. And it does say OK, BPA and DECA because if they have the option to sign up for one or both for a discounted rate of both of the state conferences, since I planned both. So that's an option. So if you know of anyone, please direct them to the vendors and sponsors page. And that's vendor booths, things like that. But the most important one, judges and volunteers. So if you have anyone in mind that would like to volunteer to judge, it could be someone who's attending with you, it could be a parent, it could be really whoever. Our rule for students is that they have to have been graduated for at least 2 years before we allow them to judge. And then, we just expect our judges to be polite, professional. We love it when they have industry experience and things like that. So, and above all, reliable as well. So, we want to make sure that any judge that we bring into CDC and put in front of our students is someone that is bringing quality feedback to the students and helping our members achieve success. Okay, so our state president, Ara, has recorded a nice video for our judges to watch, our potential judges to watch, and things like that. So this talks about time frames. They can choose to judge in the morning or the afternoon or all day. We will work with their schedule. If they can't judge at all in person on the 15th, then we do have our online judging available for those written events. So if they are interested in doing that, we can make that work as well. Okay, so there's a quick sign up form here so we can try to place them in the best area. We do try to give people their event requests when we schedule those, but that's not always guaranteed. So hopefully this year we will have enough volunteers where we can put 2 judges into each event instead of just one. So I'm hoping that we can kind of bounce back this year for that. Okay, and there is more information for all of the competitive events and things like that down here if the judges are interested. So, and that's at the bottom of the page of the CDC page. Vendors here, judges here. Okay, if you all have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. You all have my email address. Please be watching for emails. If I can't post it on the website just due to confidentiality, or if it's password, or if it really is just very advisor specific, you're going to get an email from me. And you'll probably get a lot of emails from me this January and February. So please be watching for those. I encourage you to save those in a file of some sort so that you can go back and find them if needed. But information for CDC will be coming from myself through email and also will be found here on our website. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing your registration start coming in on January 5th. Thank you. Bye.